He's going to play Otra, Otra for you a little later. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, good morning, and I'm going to introduce myself, but this is Almitri Tzigane, and he has been a fabulous musician here for a long, long time. A lot of us missed him during the pandemic, but saw his fabulous videos. So, internationally renowned, and we are grateful to have you with us and for all that you're going to do for us today. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. I'm Robin Loving, and I'm a member of so many teams I can't count them on one hand. Suffice to say that the UU imbues me with an attitude of service, so I'll be your service leader today. We welcome you wherever you are, Zoomers, and whatever your spiritual path, whatever your race, whatever your sexual orientation, whatever your gender identity. We hope that you have brought your entire self here today and that you're going to find spiritual nourishment that may be helpful to you. It is with great gratitude that we live in a community that is imbued with great cultural spirits and bears the rich cultural influences of the indigenous. San Miguel is located on the land of the Chichimeca, the Otomi, and the Nahua. We are not located on the land of the Huichol, but we have a gentleman here today who is in Huichol dress because he is Huichol and he will be introduced in a moment. So we're rich with indigenous culture here today. There are a number of people visiting today that we happen to know of, and I know there are more of you. So Miss Susie from Chapala, would you please stand up? Yes, Susie. Michael Moore from Atlanta, and we hope we hear you play tuba with us while you're here. Please stand up. Mike and Susanna from Jalisco. There's our Huichol. Susanna runs the Huichol Center there, and if you haven't seen the fabulous Huichol art, she happens to have some with her Seared Coffee Hour. Okay, and finally, Steve and Rebecca, my neighbors from Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Are there any other people here in our sanctuary today? Yes.
My friend Samson, visiting from St. Petersburg, Florida.
There we go. Thank you so much. Anybody else here who's visiting amongst us today? Okay, great. Thank you so much. We also have, I'm sure, some visitors on Zoom. I'm waving at the camera here. And we would love for you folks to type your name into the chat box along with where you're from so that as we are at coffee hour and you are convening afterward via Zoom, we can get to know you better. Thank you. Okay, a body of research is emerging that demonstrates a clear link between our surroundings and our mental health. Flowers improve not only our moods, but our memories. And at this age, most of us are pretty grateful for that, so we ought to be smelling the flowers more often. It is with these things in mind that we thank Michael Murphy for bringing beautiful, beautiful flowers today. He brought them in honor of our dearly departed friend, Robert Quirk. Used to know Robert, sat right here on the front row. He always wore a seersucker blazer. And he was really cared for by and large over the last few years by our care team, specifically Michael. He passed recently very peacefully. We are so grateful to tell you. And Michael is taking care of a lot of the rest of it. So we're grateful. Oh gosh, if you could smell these flowers, they're fabulous. I know my memory's getting better already. After the service, a member of our care team will take this to somebody amongst us whose day could be brightened by these gorgeous flowers. We record our Sunday services so that you at home and you here in the sanctuary and your friends can take a look. All you have to do is go to UUFSMA.org and take a look, and you can see the entire service. So if you're thinking about something else for a minute and say, I missed that, you can always go back and pick it up. While you're there, you can check out all sorts of other activities that we have, including how to become a member. So lots to discover. After our service, I've already said to the Zoom folks, you're invited to stay and visit. And here, remember, we'll have coffee, cookies, and conversation. Now, the cookies are really the special treat. Mama Nora and Don made the cookies. Yes. There are 5 charolas of sweets over there, and they are fabulous. If you wonder what happened to my waistline, that's what it was. Okay, so as Cathy comes up to light our chalice, let me share some opening words with you. There are certain perspectives that shape our humanity. Historian Arnold Toynbee said that the ultimate work of civilization is the unfolding of ever deeper spiritual understanding. What comes to mind when you consider spiritual philosophy? Christians generally think of the Bible. For Islamists, the Quran. Hindus, the Gita, and you'll hear more about that later. Jews contemplate the Torah. Sikhs think of the Guru Granth Sahib. Buddhists consider the I have tried this all morning. The Tripitaka. There you go. Sufis quote, of course, the poetry of Rumi. Many spiritual paths have no official spiritual philosophies. Rather, they stand on principles. Sound familiar? Models of living that guide us rather than preach, allowing adherents to interpret their own spiritual values. It is with this in mind that we asked 3 diverse members of our membership, what philosophies guide your spiritual life? And they will share those views with us a little later on today. But first, let's join our voices in song as we light the chalice to hymn number 361, which Paula will play on her beautiful piano. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Stand in body or spirit, please. And the first 3 verses will be in English, the final one in Spanish. The words will appear on your screen, and afterward we'll stay standing for our covenant. Thank you.
How many verses altogether?
It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 5. Please continue to stand as I read the covenant in English with you, and then our dear Carla will read it in Spanish. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Please be seated. As a loving community, every week we name those in our hearts and minds, and for each joy or concern, we light a candle indicating that that thought, that person is held by everyone here today. To share, you may email Reverend Tom Rosiello during the week, or to be on the list, or write something on an index card before the service, or Zoomers may write something in the chat. Our first candle is one of joy for Stan Allen, whose birthday is tomorrow. And we have another candle of joy from one of the participants for the wonderful tour of Cañada de la Virgen last Tuesday. Thanks to Diana Weiner for organizing these UUFSMA excursions. And keep your eyes open for the next one that's coming up. We now have 4 candles of healing, support, and concern for Joan Wolfe, Judy Rosenthal, Shoshana Levinson, and Linda Soren, and we hold all of them with love. Next, a candle again of gratitude and support for Lee Knox as she focuses on her next medical challenges, and I think we have her here today. Welcome back. We have a candle of concern and caring from Paula, who wrote, "My friend Nicole is donating one of her kidneys to a friend of hers this morning. She is in surgery right now. I wish for a successful transplant, a healthy recovery, and an amazing life for both of them moving forward." And we have a candle of joy for Susan McDonald, who is doing well enough that she intends to return to San Miguel around Labor Day. And a candle of joy and concern for Susan Dalcamo, who is doing well after the shock of learning of a 99% blockage of a major coronary artery. She wrote that she is very grateful for all of the people who shared their experiences with this kind of evaluation procedure when she asked. And she had a successful stent placement, and in her words, quote, "is walking again, although not tap dancing quite yet." Now, let's take a moment of silence and a candle to honor the life of longtime member Robert Quirk, who passed away this week. Thank you. I will check the chat. We don't have any in the chat except a greeting to Almitri. And now we also have concerns outside our community right here. We light our blue and yellow candle for all those suffering from the war in the Ukraine, civilian and military on all sides. And for all those suffering and facing displacement and migration from extreme climate events, drought, flood, fire, and tornadoes around the world. We hold all of this in great care that we have for one another and for our sisters and brothers on the planet. Now, during our musical meditation, Hallelujah, people may come forward to light a candle for what is in your heart today and not spoken as we maintain the silence.
So today, we're going to explore a variety of philosophies that influence our lives, and we will have 3 of our own doing so. First, creative Paola Turandot. You know, some of us have manager titles, and some of us have leader titles, and some of us have tech titles, but when you've got so much going on, you're creative, and Paula is that. And she's going to share how love and the Dharma, the Hindu philosophy that emphasizes duty, rights, character, vocation, religion, customs, and behavior, rule her life. Then, psychologist Bart Jarvis will share his search for truth and meaning via the interconnectedness of all of life in the context of his belief that the first law of thermodynamics gives us equality, proof of reincarnation, in the sense that things die and become energy for new life. Finally, psychologist Carla Espinosa will interpret an oto-me phrase you have all heard in Spanish, and I believe her insights will enrich us all culturally. Y para ustedes, quienes prefieren español, tenemos copias de todas las presentaciones en español. Entonces, lávate tu mano y Diana puede pasar algo en español si tú quieres. Ok, están disponible atrás. Ok, señora, muy bien, muy bien. ¿Alguien más? Pues es, ok, levántate la mano y, ok, está muy bien, gracias. For those of you on Zoom, if you'd like the Spanish version, just email me, robin@robinloving.com, and I will be sure to get it to you. Thank you so much. ¿Alguien más? Okay. So with the first reflection, I will invite Paola Turandot.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I'll be talking about how navigating life's path with my Hindu philosophy. The Unitarian universal philosophy is characterized by its emphasis on individual freedom, reason, and inclusive spirituality. It encouraged seekers to explore various religious and philosophical paths, allowing them to forge their unique understanding of truth and meaning. When this open-minded and inclusive approach converged with the concept of Dharma, a dynamic framework for ethical living emerges that can enrich and guide our Unitarian universal lives. Dharma, often translated as a duty or a righteousness, forms the moral and ethical backbone of Hindu philosophy. It is a multifaceted concept that emphasizes duty, rights, character, vocation, religion, customs, and behavior. Dharma serves as a guiding light, directing individuals towards living a life in harmony with the cosmic order of moral law. It is a dynamic principle that adapts to different contexts and stages of life, providing a framework for making ethical choices and fulfilling responsibilities. In Hindu philosophy, love encompasses a border of sense and compassion, empathy, and interconnectedness with all living beings. Love is the force that bridges the gap between individuals, fostering a sense of unity beyond the boundaries of caste, creed, or nationality. When Dharma and love converge, a harmonious life unfolds. Love informs the way Dharma is practiced. It is the heart that infuses duty with compassion and selflessness. Dharma, in turn, guides the way love is expressed by ensuring that love is expressed responsibly, ethically, and with consideration for the well-being of all. My journey through life has been guided by these 2 profound principles, love and Dharma. These intertwined concepts have not only illuminated my path, but also provided me with strength to overcome obstacles and enrich life that is more fuller and happier. The foundation of my journey lies in the principle of Dharma, the understanding that every action, thought, and decision I make is woven by the complex of a wave of duty, responsibility, and interconnectedness. Embracing Dharma has helped me navigate challenges with a sense of purpose and determination. Rather than viewing life's obstacles as a mere step back, I see them as opportunities to fulfill my responsibilities and contribute positively to the world around me. The principle of Dharma has taught me that life's difficulties are not random occurrences, but a part of a larger tapestry, each thread contributing to the unfolding history of my existence. This perspective has allowed me to approach obstacles with patience, resilience, and the understanding that every challenge carries a lesson. By aligning my actions with a sense of duty and responding to challenges with integrity, I've been able to navigate through difficult situations with a sense of grace and purpose. Love, as a second guiding principle, has been a transformative force that colors my experiences with compassion and empathy. In times of adversity, love has taught me to respond with kindness to myself and to others. This principle has helped me forge deeper connections with those around me, creating a support network that provides solace and strength during hard times. When faced with obstacles, approaching them with love has allowed me to view them through a lens of understanding and growth. Instead of harboring resentment or frustration, I've learned to cultivate a sense of self-compassion and embrace the imperfections that come with being a human. This love-driven approach has enabled me to let go of judgments, fostering a sense of inner peace that paves the way for a happier life. The interplay between love and Dharma has taught me to find balance, balancing the pursuit of passions with my responsibilities, and balancing self-care with care for others. As I am empowered to make the choices that are not solely based on my personal desires, but that take into account the well-being of those around me and the larger world. I am grateful for the wisdom that love and Dharma have generated within me. These principles have enabled me to face adversity with a heart full of compassion, to seek purpose in every action, and to live a life that is authentically aligned with my values. Through the trials, trumps, and oftentimes of darkness, love and Dharma have seen the stars that guide my path, offering a light that dispels doubts and illuminates a path toward a fuller, richer, and ultimately happier life. They have been the anchor that keeps me grounded amidst life's storms, and the wings that uplift me toward a life of greater purpose and meaning. As I reflect upon my journey, it becomes evident that love and Dharma are not mere concepts for me, but lived experiences that have shaped my identity and informed my choices. Their harmonious interplay has not only saved me from depths of despair, but it has also guided me through the labyrinth passages of my existence. With gratitude in my heart, I move forward, confident in the knowledge that the embrace of love and the compass of Dharma will continue to accompany me, lining the way of a life lived with intention, authenticity, and unwavering grace. Now, how Dharma and love intertwine with our 7 principles. First, interconnectedness and compassion. By cultivating a sense of responsibility toward the well-being of others, Unitarians align their actions with the sense of Dharma. A personal growth and mindful living. Unitarians nurture self-improvement beyond mindfulness, aligning with actions and Dharma. Respect for diversity. Love becomes a unifying force that bridges gaps between various beliefs and perspectives. By cultivating respect, Unitarians foster an atmosphere of inclusivity and harmony. Acts of kindness and service. Love is in action in its purest form. Unitarians can weave love into their daily lives through acts of kindness, compassion, and service to others. Volunteering, supporting charitable causes, and helping those in need exemplify the love-driven ethos that defines universal Unitarian living. And last but not least, self-care and inner compassion. By treating ones with the same kindness and consideration as others, individuals cultivate a foundation of love that radiates outwards. Thank you.
Good morning. So my talk today, I'm Bart Jarvis. I'm a psychologist, although long retired. But it's about the spiritual nature of energy exchange. So I want to thank Paola for her presentation. This is really a 5-hour lecture in the next 7 minutes. So you have to bear with me. A disclaimer is I'm not an engineer, although there are engineering terms in what I'm going to say. There's a whole lot more that I don't know than what I do know, and I think that's true of most of us. And last is I really have not a lot of trust in any philosophy or any religion that says it has all the answers. I just don't trust that. So that's where I come from. So let me jump right into the first law of thermodynamics. It's considered by most scientists to be the most important and fundamental natural law. And it basically says that the total energy in a system remains constant, although it may be converted from one form to another. In other words, no additional energy can come into the system or leave the system. It only changes. An example of that would be like a burning log, which has a certain amount of energy, usable energy in it. You light it on fire, it burns, it becomes ashes. The energy has not left, but it is changed in its form. The second law of thermodynamics says the energy in a system is transforming into less usable forms of energy at all times. Sometimes that's called entropy. Entropy is also a disorder that happens in any system. So going back to our burning log, it converts to ashes, which is now a much less usable form of energy. It hasn't changed, it hasn't gone away, but it's changed. Entropy is inevitable in every system, including the universe. Einstein considered the second law to be the most important law of all natural laws. The implication of entropy is that the universe had a starting point, because had it just been going on and on and on, by this time there would be no usable energy. So that's why we know there was a starting point. Briefly talking about the Big Bang theory, or also called the sudden expansion theory. The question about the Big Bang theory is, how can it be possible? Because it really violates the first law of thermodynamics. In other words, energy was created out of nothing. And this is really scientifically and logically impossible. That's why some have speculated that the Big Bang is another name for God, or the result of God interfering or entering the system. So let's talk briefly about energy recycling and reincarnation, or in Buddhism it's called rebecoming. We know from Einstein that energy and mass are the same thing. As Carl Sagan once said, we are all star stuff. We exist because of explosions of stars many millennia ago. So a typical definition of reincarnation is that it's a non-physical essence or energy of living beings that begins a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. My definition of it would be not just life, but everything. Everything in the universe recycles. Everything does. So you look outside, plants die, they go into the soil, they nourish new plants, and stars die, they nourish new stars, new galaxies. It's always happening. I know that when I pass, that I will also become part of the universal energy. There are similar belief systems. For instance, Taoism says that all living creatures ought to live in a state of harmony with the universe and the energy found in it. This is also known as qi or qi. There's an old belief system called pantheism that's been around for thousands of years. And basically, pantheism talks about the fact that everything in the universe is God. We're all God. The chairs are God, the floor is God, we are God, the stars are God, everything is God. That's pantheism. God is all around us in a universal energy. The Hindu philosophy, as Paola talked about with Dharma, is that living a life in harmony with the cosmic order. Indigenous beliefs from all over the world typically talk about the importance of the connection of all things and the importance of treating all life and the environment with respect. With Genesis, it talks about in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Some have speculated that this is actually another description of the Big Bang. So in closing, we're all made of energy. Everything in this room, everything in this universe is energy. We truly are all connected. And now I'd like to introduce Carla Espinoza to share how an indigenous phrase has enriched Mexican culture and that of those of us fortunate enough to share it. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Yes. Well, it's amazing. Thank you. And I'm very impressed. I'm going to try to do my best to go after the line to draw. Wow. Well, like for fifth time this morning, good morning, everybody. Thank you for your patience with the person like me that we're not great speaking in public, but we have all our heart in the place to share ourselves. Thank you. Chedomago. This is an Otomi phrase that means adios, which means I wish you well. Today, I will share with you how this Otomi phrase is central to my spiritual belief system. This phrase came from the Greek a God or adios. That means friend, go with God, like we are wishing this belief or this good. Not necessarily the birthday we do that we imagine usually, but is this idea of God that we want to share. This expression became to us from the Spanish evangelization. Whoever, the meaning of letting go, wishing well-being, not retaining and respecting the free will of someone else is there. This word becomes an axis in a belief system, in loving without owning, knowing that were we or will not be possibly of seeing each other again, that I wish you the best for you, and knowing the causality or casuality allow us to meet in the future, or possibly no, but thinking for you and the time that it happened. Being able to say goodbye to something or someone, wishing them well-being at that moment. You honor the time they spent together. It changed your perspective, loving without possessing, without fearing that they will continue on their way just as we follow ours. Being able to say goodbye has changed me in a spiritual sense, since I have come to understand that there are not occasions where we can say up to here or draw a limit. This does not mean that I will forget it, but does mean that I honor this passage through my life. Yes, it's also setting a limit. When something is over, It can point to disappointment, surprise, sadness, or joy and love. Having the possibility to let go with emotions that accompany them and honor them, not believing that we're wrong or we should punish ourselves by wishing and being ready to say goodbye. How this touched my spiritual belief system? Surprisingly, for me, it's not only about the first principle, the worth and dignity of each person, or the second principle, justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. For me, it's about the sixth principle, the goal of a community, work with peace, freedom, and justice for all. Having had the tool that allow me to let go and be able to live when it's necessary, when somebody step on my rights or I step their own rights. Knowing the holding on with our strength to a movement that was radical at the time, and over time runs the risk to becoming conservative. How? But not allowing to mutate, but not allowing to let it go in search of evolution so that the world becomes a better place. As I already mentioned, clinging into belief that no longer matches our value systems usually generates anguish or discomfort. With this, I don't mean that confronting and discussing it is not something that also makes us uncomfortable, but clinging on it, not changing, not being able to say goodbye, will bring us discomfort inherent to this belief. In saying goodbye to our grief, the pain and sadness of not being able to retain the situation, idea, or person that we would like to have with us, or that has been there because we never question it or have it taken for granted, that it will always be like that. But there can be joy and hope in that situation, idea, or person. We follow it path, evolve, where chance or casualty will make us to agree. And if it's part of the system of our beliefs or our values, we're going to be there. Where we may or may not have played a role in making this space for more and fair or an equality of our community, this space that is part of our worldview, as part of this, that it's bigger than us. So, in my very limited worldview, saying goodbye is to thank and wish the best for one situation or another. And it's part of the beliefs that give pause to my heart. It is not take for granted the people who make our world like it is. And have a reminder that the world mutates, not take it for granted, and allowing to question where and what I will or not allow for myself and those that I love around me.
I don't know about you, but I just say, wow. I took something from each of those. I'm going to take them home and read them again and see what my spiritual philosophy is. I think I got formed today somehow, putting these three things together, things that I thought were going to be so very different and that just somehow intertwined. Thank you all very, very much, truly, individually, personally. So to paraphrase John Saxon, who's a UU minister in North Carolina, a spiritual community is like a river. It's formed from the many streams of our many lives that meet and merge and flow to the sea. As members and friends of this spiritual community, we share our time and our energy, our creativity, our imagination, our vision. We share our talents, our skills, our gifts, and the streams of our individual lives create a river that is both deep and broad, a river that is made of many streams that sustains our lives, that refreshes the land through which it flows. The river of our spiritual community depends on our shared financial support to realize our shared visions and our shared values. Today, you are invited. You're invited to make an offering to support the work of our spiritual community and the community of the world that we support. The offering will now be collected and most gratefully received. Thank you. Thank you, Almitri, and please come back often. Buddha said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. Carl Sagan said, science is not only compatible with spirituality, it's a profound source of spirituality. And famous hockey goalie Maxime Layassi said, spirituality is the art of keeping your internal fire alive. May your spiritual path encounter all the nourishing philosophies you may need to keep your internal flame ablaze. Thank you.